Hi, my name's Rachel. Welcome back to another video. Today, as you can tell by the title of this video, I'm gonna do an unhaul. The majority of these books I have already read and I either didn't like them or I just won't be rereading them and I want to clear up some space on my shelves. One book is a DNF and two books I have not read yet that I lost interest in, but I could be persuaded to keep one of them. The other one I will not be keeping because I heard bad things about the author and I'll talk about it when I get there. Astro, come on dude. Can you get out of here? Okay, wanna be in my video again? Without further ado, let's dive in. The first book I'm going to talk about is The Book of Dragons, edited by Jonathan Strahan. Overall, I really enjoyed the stories in here. However, there were only two stories that I would say I loved, and I don't think I would want to reread all of the other stories anytime soon. And if I do want to reread any of the stories in here, I can just get it from the library. So I think I'm going to unhaul this just to get rid of it because I don't need it anymore. The next book I'm going to unhaul is Daughter of the Burning City by Amanda Foody. Now, when I read this book, I loved it. I thought that it was fun, quirky, it had good representation. I thought that the writing was good. I didn't think there was anything inherently bad about this book. I wasn't like obsessed with it. I just thought it was like a surface level fun, like very whimsical, you know, circus vibes. It was good for what it was, but it is YA and I have been drifting so far from liking YA lately that I don't think I'm ever going to reread it, so I'm just going to get rid of it so someone else can love it. The next book that I'm going to get rid of is a little bit of a disappointment for me because I had such high hopes for it, and that is Son of the Storm by Sue Yi Davies Okungbawa. I buddy read this with my friend Jade from Jade Juniper. I'll link her below. I've linked her in like every book, so if you don't know by now, I am Jade Juniper's #1 fangirl. We buddy read this together and I think that it had amazing potential. I just think the execution was not there for me. One of the characters, without spoiling, a lot of things go her way without her ever having to do any footwork. She never physically does anything. She just gives people an attitude and then they do what she wants immediately. And it was such an integral part of the plot that I was like, there's no fucking way. This bitch is walking up to people, bossing them around, and then they're just like, okay, I'll do whatever you say. Like, it made no sense in the context of the plot for that to just be how easy things were going for her. I think I might still read the second book in this series though. I do believe it came out a couple months ago, at the end of last year maybe. I do think I'll still read the second book in this series, but I'm gonna get it from my library because I know that I didn't love this one. I gave it a 3 stars because the main character, who I literally can't remember his name, the main character I thought was really like, he was cute. He was just doing his thing. The main character was good. I liked his personality. I think that he had some spunk to him. He made terrible choices, but I think he learned a lesson in the end, and I would like to see where that goes. It's not a high priority for me to read the sequel, but if and when I do ever get the urge to read it, I will just read it from the library. The next books I'm going to talk about are actually a series. I'm going to be unhauling the City of Ghosts series by V.E. Schwab. I love V.E. Schwab with my whole heart. However, these were fun. Do not get me wrong. This is middle grade. The intended audience would love these. I am not the intended audience. I do love middle grade, but I like middle grade that doesn't dumb things down for kids and doesn't overly explain things. Not that this does that at all, but I do think that this had way too many pop culture references in it for my personal taste. I do not like pop culture references in books. If I am reading a book, I am trying to escape the real world. I don't want to hear about things that exist in my reality in this book. I want things to be, I want them to be separate, you know? So I think that there's a little kid out there whose parent will find these cheap, buy them for them, and that little kid will have the time of their life reading this. And so I'm going to give this to a better home, even though I think the series was okay overall. I didn't hate it. I'm just not going to reread it. And no hate to VE because I love them. The last book that I'm going to talk about that I've already read is The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. This was a really big disappointment for me. Unfortunately, I found that the book was just too long for the plot that we got, and I also think that not a lot happened in regards to the characters being active in the plot. I think a lot of things happened to them, but they weren't actually involved in a lot of things until near the end, and it was just kind of boring. So I will be getting rid of that one. The next book I'm going to talk about is the book that I DNF, which is A Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown. This is another book where I thought it had amazing potential. I was really excited to read it. I started listening to it on audiobook, and the narrator was fine. Like, it definitely wasn't the narrator's fault, but I was just so bored and I was so neutral about what happened to them. I literally could not have cared about a single character in here. And I think it's sad because the atmosphere and the setting and the world itself were so cool and the magic was so cool, but the actual characters I was just so neutral about their lives that I just couldn't care less. The next book that I will be unhauling is The Tiger's Daughter by K. Arsenal Rivera. From what I've heard about this book, after I purchased this, it sat on my shelf for a couple of months and I was getting ready to read it. And then I heard that the story itself is very Asian inspired and the author is not Asian. And then I heard a couple of things about the author just kind of being not the best person. So this book has been sitting on my shelves for genuinely probably 5 or 6 years at this point. So I think it's just time for me to let go finally. I've let go emotionally and now I'm letting go physically. The last book that I'm going to talk about is one that I'm still conflicted on. So if you've read it, please give me your thoughts because I can't decide on this one yet. It's like 50-50 if I want to keep it or unhaul it. But that book is The Thief by Megan Wallen Turner. It's blurred by Laini Taylor, who wrote my favorite book of all time. So I'm like, do I just keep it? Do I just keep it? I've heard amazing things by it, and I know that everyone who reads it loves it. I'm just afraid because it was written in 1996 that it's not gonna have aged well. I'm afraid it's gonna be too young for me because I think it's YA, and I have been having such bad luck with YA lately. I do love some YA books, so I'm tempted to just read this one and see where it falls. But I've also had it for so long at this point now that I'm like, I need to just get rid of it or I need to just force myself to read it. So if you've read this, give me your thoughts on it. Convince me one way or another. Should I just get rid of it or should I keep it? Let me know. So these are all the books that I'm unhauling today. If you've read any of these and loved them, let me know. And if any of these are your favorite book, I'm so sorry. It's nothing personal. They're just not for me. If you made it to the end of the video, leave the tall book stack emoji in the comments below. Thanks. I'll see you in the next video.